Chapter 1807 Yueza, 1 Let me explain. Yi paid no attention to other people's eyes and tried to latch onto her final log, Guyueza. Guyueza avoided her hand like she was something disgusting. He wore an extremely disappointed expression as he frostily said, I always thought you were an innocent and kind girl. For you, I didn't hesitate to break my engagement with Wanwan and shoulder the curses afterward, but I didn't expect you to be so malicious. Yi watched forlornly as Guyueza furiously left. She was instantly submerged by a swarm of reporters. The event that could be called the biggest farce of the entertainment industry this year finally dropped its curtains. After Stars Entertainment's anniversary celebration ended, Yi Wanwan didn't linger, and the venue slowly emptied of guests. Yi Wanwan walked out of the restroom with her phone in hand and looked up, catching sight of someone standing in the hallway outside. Guyueza? He was evidently waiting there for her. Yi Wanwan reflexively raised her brows at seeing Guyueza after a long absence on her part. This man was undoubtedly her most disliked person. Not only because he was scum but because he truly represented the darkest part of her history during her period of amnesia. Yi Wanwan couldn't help but grind her teeth at the thought of the culprit behind all of this. 1. Guyueza examined this woman who seemed to have remolded herself thoroughly. I don't know how you did it, but I'm very surprised you would go to this extent for me. Even he couldn't help but exclaim, beautiful, at Yi Wanwan's flawless counterattack. Although Yi Wanwan became more and more beautiful, he never regretted his decision. For people like him, winning over beautiful women was way too easy. Now though, he finally seriously considered this woman for the first time. Yi Wanwan glanced at him speechlessly. What did he mean by, go to this extent for me? What did this idiot narcissistically imagine again? She didn't understand a word. Guyueza continued, I actually remember everything you said back then, Wanwan. Oh, but I've forgotten. What did I say? Yi Wanwan asked with amusement. Guyueza smiled as though he saw through her intentionally calm pretense and confidently said, You once said to me that you would work hard to become someone worthy of me, Wanwan. Back then, I didn't think you said that seriously, so I didn't expect you to really work so hard for me. Yi Wanwan. After breaking off my engagement with him, I partied my way to the heavens already, alright? Is he still living in the previous century? Yi Wanwan was incredulous. Just who gave him this confidence and audacity? Mr. Gu, you're truly cute. Yi Wanwan promptly left after saying that, unwilling to waste precious time with this idiot. Guyueza wasn't angry as he watched Yi Wanwan leaving. Playing hard to get was kind of fun too. No matter how outstanding a woman was, she couldn't escape from his grasp as long as they had emotional ties. Yi Wanwan originally wanted to seek out Xie Zhizhi to ask about news related to Si Yihan, but Xie Zhizhi left already by the time she came out, so she had to meet with him a different time. After bidding farewell to Han Xinyu and the others, she headed straight to the courthouse to take Yi Mufan and Yi Shouting home. When the family of four finally reunited, they tightly hugged each other, excited beyond words. Chapter 1808 You've worked hard. Emotional tears filled Yi Shouting's eyes. Dad, we're family. Why are you saying this? Yi Wanwan hugged her father. They might not be her biological parents, but Yi Shouting had given her the most valuable paternal love. Yi Mufan was bursting with excitement and kept bouncing up and down next to Yi Wanwan. Damn. You're too freaking awesome. We're from the same parents, isn't this too unfair? Do you have a genetic mutation, Wanwan? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at him. Stop your nonsense. Hurry and go home to take a bath. Liang Wanjun nodded vehemently. That's right. Wash away the bad luck. After Stars Entertainment's anniversary celebration ended, Yi Wanwan's phone exploded with calls, and an endless amount of invitations paraded onto her phone. However, she declined all of them and kept her parents' company at home in the following few days. Eventually, she and Yi Mufan invited Han Xinyu, Luo Qin, Gong Su, Jiang Yanran, and Fei Yang, as well as Big Dipper, Seven Star, and Fu Mingxi, who forcibly invited himself, for a meal. Fei Yang reserved a table at a tower restaurant with great privacy, and everyone sat down at the table, relaxed. Yi Wanwan pulled Jiang Yanran to sit on her right side, leaving an empty seat on her left which was swiftly snatched by Gong Su. Due to some obstructions from Big Dipper, Fu Mingxi only managed to land a corner spot a little far from Yi Wanwan. At the table, Yi Wanwan introduced Fu Mingxi, Big Dipper, and 7 Star to everyone, and a harmonious atmosphere enveloped the table. Han Xinyu said, "Congratulations Xiao Yi, for righting your injustice." Luo Chen also butt in, "Congratulations, Xiao Yi." Everyone else cheerfully piped in with their congratulations. Yi Mufan sighed. "Thank you for your hard work throughout this period. Open your mouth wide today and eat your fill. My sister will pay the bill." Yi Mufan said, "My sister will pay the bill," like it went without saying. Yi Wanwan looked somewhat exasperated, but the comers of her lips unwittingly turned up. In the independent state, she walked every step with her heart hanging off a cliff. Now that she had returned to China and reunited with her friends, she hadn't been able to feel so relaxed for a long time. On the table, Gong Su's phone kept going off, ding ding ding, as though special notifications for some topic he set up were popping up. Gong Su offhandedly clicked it open and promptly slapped the table, exclaiming, "Damn! What the heck is Gu Yueza up to? Isn't this notice too freaking shameless? He actually said you've always been deeply in love with him, Brother Yi. He's saying you love him more than life itself and desperately yearned for him even after you broke off your engagement with him. Blah. Couldn't he make up a more believable story?" Fei Yang had received many messages from his friends in the industry asking him about Yi Wanwan's relationship with Gu Yueza, but he didn't mention it to avoid affecting everyone's meal. Since Gong Su rashly brought it up, he interjected, "It hasn't been many days since the court hearing concluded, but this press release was already written and published. The Gu Group's public relations works rather fast." Earlier, Jiang Yanran was worried that Yi Wanwan would become sad at the mention of Gu Yueza, but now, she lost all worries. Upon hearing this, she scornfully said, "Back when Uncle Yi fell on desperate times, Gu Yueza impatiently broke off his engagement with Wanwan and cut their ties. Now, as soon as he learned about Wanwan's identity, he audaciously wants to claim some relation to her. What a clever plan." Yi Mufan commented as well, "And I thought I was scum enough already, but there's always someone even scummier out there." Chapter 1809. You've also suffered a beating? Han Xinyu sipped from his lemon water before saying, "Gu Yueza probably really thinks he's still Yi Wanwan's true love and that she never got over him. He thinks that as long as he shows a sign, Yi Wanwan will catch it immediately." Yi Wanwan smiled at Han Xinyu. "Very accurate. Gu Yueza probably actually thought that way since the previous Yi Wanwan was truly too infatuated with him and even did numerous idiotic things. To Gu Yueza, Yi Wanwan's desperate love for him was a deep-rooted belief. Even after discovering that she got together with Si Yihan, Gu Yueza merely thought she was trying to take revenge against him and still deeply loved him in her heart. Big Dipper was sitting next to Gong Su and leaned close to his phone to take a closer look at Gu Yueza's photo in the gossip article. No way, right? Did you gorge on too much meat, Brother Yi? How could you stand to consume this type? Mind your words. Yi Wanwan snapped. What do you mean I gorged on too much meat? What meat did I eat? Fu Mingxi lived his whole life in China, so he naturally knew about Gu Yueza. He was instantly riled up when he heard that. Sis? Brother Yi, you actually had an engagement with Gu Yueza? What about me? We clearly had an engagement prior to this. Yi Wanwan almost lunged onto the table to cover his mouth. Thankfully, 7 Star, who was sitting closer to him, did it for her. Wu, Fu Mingxi was forcefully silenced. At that moment, the servers brought alcohol to the table. To avoid the miscreants, Big Dipper and Fu Mingxi, from running their mouths off again, Yi Wanwan fiercely glared at them before picking up the wine glass on the table and standing up. All right. It's rare for us to gather here so happily, so let's not talk about unhappy things like this. Yi Wanwan looked over everyone sitting at the table gently. I'm truly happy to know everyone here and honored to have you all as friends. Cheers, here's a glass from me. We're not leaving until we're drunk tonight. Yi Wanwan gallantly raised the glass and tilted her head back to down the cup. When Yi Wanwan was about to drink from the cup, nearly everyone jumped up. Gong Su, Brother Yi, no. Luo Chen, Brother Yi, you can't. Han Xinyu, Yi Bai, hold on. Jiang Yanran, Wanwan. Fei Yang, old bro Yi, calm down. Yi Mufan, put it down, Wanwan. 7 Star, Sis Feng. Big Dipper, boss, no. Put it down. Except for the clueless Fu Mingxi, nearly everyone at the table stood up and shouted, their hands reaching out to stop Yi Wanwan's glass. The scene was rather spectacular. When everyone reacted identically, the members of the Age of Immortals reflexively exchanged looks with their 2 new friends. Big Dipper leaned toward Gong Su and quietly asked, Bro, have you also witnessed Brother Yi drunk? Gong Su nodded like he had met a bosom friend. You've also suffered a beating? The new car I bought got a huge hole. Big Dipper, Gong Su. After this exchange, the duo tightly clasped their hands together and looked like people who had finally found a companion after ending up at the other end of the world. As for Yi Wanwan, she was dumbstruck. She exasperatedly looked at the group still recovering from their panic. Really? When I'm drunk, I'm just slightly livelier. Everyone looked like a confused question mark meme. She calls that slightly livelier? The ignorant Fu Mingxi asked with a frown. That's right. The president is just drinking some alcohol. Why are you all over? Before Fu Mingxi could finish speaking, his mouth was covered by the expressionless 7 Star again. Woo-ah. Chapter 1810. Everyone expressed an intense desire to live upon seeing Yi Wanwan about to consume alcohol. Brother Yi, come on, put it down. This is too dangerous. Gong Su nimbly snatched Yi Wanwan's wine glass away. Luo Chen quickly moved the alcohol bottle next to Yi Wanwan farther away. Han Xinyu also brought over some strawberry juice prepared ahead of time, and Jiang Yanran quickly stood up to pour a glass for Yi Wanwan. Drink this strawberry juice. It's freshly squeezed, so it's delicious. Yi Mufan nodded frantically. That's right. Sister, you're a girl, so why are you drinking? I won't allow it as your brother. You should drink juice like Yanran. Behave. Right. They're right. Big Dipper piped in. Yi Wanwan couldn't describe her feelings as she stared at the pink strawberry juice in her hand. In the end, under the strict watch of everyone at the table, Yi Wanwan had no choice but to use strawberry juice in place of alcohol to toast everyone. Only then did Big Dipper relax and joyously urge everyone to stand up. Come, cheers. We won't leave until we're drunk. Yi, drunk your ass. Through the whole meal, Yi Wanwan's stomach was forcefully filled with all sorts of fruit juice. She didn't crave alcohol, but not being able to drink some alcohol in this kind of setting was truly too dull. As she propped her head on her chin in utter boredom and sipped from a glass of another strangely colored juice blended from some unknown fruits that Jiang Yanran poured for her, her phone suddenly chimed with a notification. Yi Wanwan didn't even look before clicking her phone open. It was a voice message. The moment Yi Wanwan clicked it open, a man's voice rang out from her phone. Wanwan, are you free tomorrow night? A man's voice. The boisterous dinner table turned silent instantly, and everyone's ears perked up. They looked like they were drinking and eating, but their attention was wholeheartedly concentrated on Yi Wanwan's phone. 1/3, let's have dinner together? Both Fu Mingxi's ears and hair were standing up, and caution was evident on his face. If it weren't for 7 Star watching him, he wouldn't have been able to resist slapping the table and jumping up again. Gong Su used his proximity to Yi Wanwan and snuck a peek. Brother Yi, who is it? It's Ji Guyueza. This scum still dares to hit on you. Fu Mingxi immediately butted in. Why is this scum still pestering you? I'm telling you, Brother Yi, an impure and unchaste scum like him should be drowned in a pig cage and rolled over a board of nails. Block him already. Why are you keeping scum like him around? Fu Mingxi was fairly resentful of the fact that Yi Wanwan once had an engagement with Guyueza. Yi Wanwan didn't block Guyueza before because she simply tossed him to the back of her mind. She wasn't blocking him now though because, why should I block him? Don't you think it'd be rather fun to take him out for a walk whenever you're bored? Yi Wanwan asked with a chuckle. Without surprise, a new message notification rang from her phone as she said that. It was another voice message from Gu Yueze. Wanwan, you're a smart person. You should know that there's no point in playing hard to get for too long. I won't always have the time. PFT, his words seriously didn't disappoint her. Gong Su truly couldn't hold back anymore and picked up Yi Wanwan's phone and pressed on the voice message button before roaring, "Shit, Gu Yueze, are you a freaking idiot? Brother Yi has had a boyfriend since a long time ago." Chapter 1811 So handsome he shatters the earth's shell. Gong Su grunted and continued to say to the phone, "They're incredibly loving, and the most important point is that Brother Ye's boyfriend is so handsome he shatters the earth's crust. A single hair from him could blow you to smithereens. Who wants you more than life itself? Who's deeply in love with you? Who's playing hard to get? You're the freaking embodiment of a drama king, alright? You're seriously too good at creating scenes for yourself. How could ugly swine like you dare to covet my brother Yi?" Everyone at the table, except for Big Dipper, 7-Star, and Fu Mingxi, had seen the "so handsome he shatters the earth's crust" boyfriend that Gong Su mentioned. 7-Star imperceptibly furrowed his brows and automatically glanced at Yi Wanwan. Meanwhile, Big Dipper quietly blurted out, "Sis Feng has a boyfriend in China?" Fu Mingxi asked, "Boyfriend? What boyfriend?" After Gong Su finished his tirade in one breath, Gu Yueze's expression darkened as he listened to Gong Su's voice on the other end. Gu Yueze had people privately investigate the matter and hadn't discovered that Yi Wanwan was dating anyone during this period of time. Hence, to him, this was merely a charade from Yi Wanwan. As for artists like Gong Su, Luo Qin, and even Fu Mingxi, he had never taken them seriously. Soon, Gu Yueze responded with a voice message. "Hey, Wanwan, I thought you were a clever girl and would know how to choose, but it appears I've overestimated you. I think you should know that there's no one in Imperial City who's worthy of you rejecting me." Gu Yueze's strange words rang again, but this time, Big Dipper, 7-Star, and Fu Mingxi's attention wasn't focused on him anymore. "You're awesome, Brother Yi. You have a boyfriend in China too?" Big Dipper zealously asked. "Yi Wanwan, how in the world does Big Dipper manage to do this? Why do his words cause misunderstandings every time so easily? What does he mean I have a boyfriend in China too? Do I have many boyfriends?" Unfortunately, while 7-Star was able to successfully block out Fu Mingxi, he couldn't do anything about Big Dipper. "Please erase the part, in China too. Thank you. Hey, who's Brother Ye's boyfriend in China? Is he really that handsome?" Big Dipper was already akin to a wild horse broken free of its reins and eagerly pulled on Gong Su to inquire. Gong Su nodded. "Although I don't want to admit it, he really is very handsome," Fu Mingxi protested. "Gong Su, aren't you exaggerating too much?" In the end, the meal wrapped up amidst everyone's insults for Gu Yueze and gossip about Yi Wanwan's Chinese boyfriend. After the meal concluded, they exited the hotel to return home individually and were about to enter their cars when a dark horde of reporters rushed up. Fei Yang's expression instantly changed. "What's going on? Did our itinerary get leaked? Let's go." Any single person from their group could evoke a commotion, let alone so many gathered together. To their lament, there were too many reporters and they were tightly blocking the hotel entrance, so Yi Wanwan and her group were stuck and unable to leave for the time being. Thankfully, Big Dipper and 7-Star were martially inclined and stopped the crowd from pressing too close. "Miss Yi Wanwan, regarding the rumors circulating around the internet about you and Mr. Gu, is there something you would like to say? When you tearfully agreed to break the engagement back then, did you consider it your lifelong regret? Did you publicly expose Yi's background to make Mr. Gu turn around and rekindle his old flame with you?" Question after question was launched at Yi Wanwan like a series of cannonballs, causing Yi Wanwan to unwittingly scratch her ears. She felt like she was about to go deaf. Chapter 1812 My taste isn't that awful. Yi Wanwan, who was walking forward while protected from the reporters, suddenly stopped and turned to one of the reporters. A second of silence enveloped the scene. When that reporter saw Yi Wanwan looking at her, she excitedly asked, "Xiao Yi, I heard good things are coming for you and Mr. Gu. Will Stars Corporation collaborate with the Gu Group due to this relationship?" Yi Wanwan humorously swept her eyes across all the reporters. "Gu Yueza and I? Apologies, but you seem to have misunderstood something." The reporters were bewildered. "Misunderstood something?" Yi Wanwan aloofly replied, "My taste isn't that awful." All the reporters were stupefied. Damn. This Yi Wanwan is seriously arrogant. With the Gu family's power in Imperial City and Gu Yueza's looks and character, he was the golden husband candidate for numerous socialites and heiresses. Otherwise, Yi wouldn't have done everything she could to steal him from Yi Wanwan. Back then, everyone in the industry witnessed how Yi Wanwan made a fool of herself to chase after Gu Yueza. "Ahem, Miss Yi, your words." The reporter was at a loss for words. "Back then my taste is. It might have indeed been rather weird. Now though, I have a boyfriend, so I'd like to request all my media friends to refrain from believing the rumors." Yi Wanwan interrupted the reporter and dropped another atomic bomb. "What? Yi Wanwan has a boyfriend already?" The reporter and their fellow reporters had been digging for so long but hadn't been able to fish out any gossip like that. Could it be someone in the industry too? "Miss Yi Wanwan, you already have a boyfriend? May I ask who he is? Is he from the entertainment industry? Could it be a member of the Age of Immortals?" someone guessed. Listening to the reporter's ardent inquiries, Han Xianyu, Gong Su, and the others were also surprised. Yi Wanwan had always been very low profile, so they didn't expect her to publicize her romantic relationships so directly this time. However, considering how revolting Gu Yueza's actions were, it wasn't strange that she would publicize her relationship. Yi Mufan was also fairly astonished since he thought his sister had broken up with that pretty boy already. After all, such a serious ordeal occurred in their family and his sister hadn't mentioned that man after returning to the country, so he didn't dare to mention it in fear of saddening her. He didn't expect her to suddenly bring it up out of her own initiative. Yi Wanwan frankly answered, "He isn't from the entertainment industry. He's a businessman, and you all should know him too." A businessman and also someone they knew? Just who was it? Could it be YLCO? I think he publicly declared he was a fan of Yi Bai earlier, and gossip about them circulated for some time. YLCO is already more than 50 years old, no? He's been divorced twice too. It can't be an artist under her, right? Amidst the intense discussion and pressing inquiries, Yi Wanwan nonchalantly continued, "His name is Si Yihan." All the reporters, Yi Mufan, Gong Su, Luo Qin, Fu Mingxi, aside from Big Dipper and Seven Star, who didn't recognize the name Si Yihan, the rest of their group and all the reporters were flabbergasted. Yi Mufan nearly bit his tongue as he stared at his sister, stupefied. He quietly cursed, "Shit. Wanwan, who did you say? You clearly didn't drink at all tonight." Chapter 1813. After a brief moment of shock, an uproar snaked through the crowd. None of them ever expected Yi Wanwan to utter this name. They weren't just familiar with this name. It was akin to thunder to their ears. Gong Su dazedly stood there, thinking he heard wrong. "Si Yihan? Isn't it Ninth C?" Fei Yang exclaimed, "Oh my God." No one expected the biggest gossip of the year to come out from Yi Bai instead of an artist. Luo Qin was also astonished. No matter how much you didn't pay attention to gossip and news, you still knew the name Si Yihan, despite the fact that he never appeared in front of any media outlet or in public. Han Xianyu was first shocked before peering down in contemplation, finally understanding something. No wonder he kept feeling like that man's aura indicated an extraordinary identity. Perhaps it was because Yi Bai truly gave him too many surprises that while this matter might be shocking to everyone, Han Xianyu found it to be within reason. Moreover, Yi Bai was different from how she was before. As the owner of Stars Corporation, she carried a status and background that wasn't inferior to the Si families in China at all. It was Gu Yueza who thought too highly of himself and ignorantly wanted to charm someone way out of his league without any self-knowledge. A sense of crisis appeared on Fu Mingxi's face for the first time. "I knew it. I knew it." How could a man that the president took a fancy to be so simple? It's our president's nature to only do challenging things. But what can I do? Calm down. Calm down. Xi Yihan is Chinese. The independent state absolutely prohibited its residents from marrying outsiders, so the president could only have fun with him in China, and there was no way she would give him an official status. That was right. Realization dawned on Big Dipper. No wonder Sis Feng ordered us to secretly look into traces of the patriarch of the Xi family after we came to China. She has a thing with him. 7-Star frowned and sighed with exasperation. As they said, the mighty dragon was no match for the native serpent. The Xi family possessed immense power in China, and as the patriarch of the Xi family, Xi Yihan absolutely wasn't one to be trifled with. He was truly afraid of the president stirring some sort of trouble, like willfully forcing Patriarch Xi to be her boyfriend or something. If Yi Wanwan knew 7-Star's thoughts, she'd definitely spit in his face. She was the forced one, all right. Of course, she absolutely wouldn't mention this kind of dark history. Meanwhile, at a certain secluded manor in Imperial City, Lin Ke finally returned to his original appearance and was gleefully browsing through gossip with his laptop in hand. In front of the fireplace, a man was sitting on the sofa with his head propped on one hand while holding a book with his other hand, but his attention clearly wasn't on the book. As Lin Ke browsed, he kept vocalizing his thoughts. Tisk, look at your woman, 9th brother. She hasn't simmered down for a second since she's returned to China and keeps causing trouble every day. Tisk, he isn't Fu Mingxi the grandson of that second elder from the Fearless Alliance? He looks like he has ulterior motives toward that ugly freak. 9th brother, how are you managing to ignore this? Tsk, Gu Yueza is rather shameless. The ugly freak already announced her identity as the big boss of Stars Corporation, so how could she have her eyes on a mere member of the Gu family? Does he think ugly freak is still the brain-dead teenager from back then? His intelligence is simply beyond words. How can you stand this, 9th brother? Tsk. Lin Ke kept prattling on when his eyes suddenly shot open upon seeing something. Shit. 9th brother. Hurry and look at this. Chapter 1814, 9th brother. Hurry and watch this video. That ugly freak actually. Xi Yihan turned to look at Lin Ke instead of the notebook he brought toward him. A chill ran down Lin Ke's back at once, and he gulped. I was wrong. I misspoke. It's 9th sister. No matter what Yi Wanwan looked like now, her eyesore appearance from back then was deeply engraved into his soul. It was only after Lin Ke changed his form of address that Xi Yihan graciously looked at the laptop. Lin Ke immediately restarted the video from the beginning. The video captured an interview, and Xi Yihan recognized the girl surrounded by people at a single glance. The reporters kept grilling Yi Wanwan about her relationship with Gu Yueza and whether she wanted to get back together with him. My taste isn't that awful. Yi Wanwan's voice arose from the clamor. When the reporter raised another question, the girl continued, back then, my taste, yes, it might have indeed been rather weird. Now though, I have a boyfriend, so I'd like to request all my media friends to refrain from believing the rumors. Lin Ke finished watching the video earlier, so he excitedly watched his 9th brother's expression turn awful and he intentionally taunted him. Hee, 9th brother. Guess the identity of the boyfriend 9th sister's talking about? Xi Yihan ignored him. He isn't from the entertainment industry. He's a businessman, you all should know him too, the girl in the video continued. A businessman. The reporters know him too. His name is Xi Yihan. When Xi Yihan heard his name, his unfathomable eyes contracted immediately. Lin Ke saw Xi Yihan's astonished expression as expected and was instantly satisfied. He excitedly exclaimed, it's all over the internet now. 9th sister has publicized it to the world. Before, Yi Wanwan always adamantly cut a clear line between herself and Xi Yihan, afraid that other people would learn about her relationship with Xi Yihan. To their surprise, she actually admitted Xi Yihan was her man in front of so many reporters this time. Xi Yihan's slender fingers touched the laptop screen and the video replayed Yi Wanwan's lines, I have a boyfriend, and his name is Xi Yihan. Yi Wanwan's interview spread through the internet like wildfire as soon as it was uploaded and rapidly entered the headlines of the major news outlets. One of the main leads of this rumor featured the behind-the-scenes boss of Stars Corporation who just revealed herself, while the other was the mysterious patriarch of the C family who had never revealed his face. This rumor was 100 times more explosive than the exposure Gu Yueze spent a large sum to buy. Gu Yueze naturally saw this interview instantly. Not a long time had passed since he sent a message to Yi Wanwan inviting her to dinner before being rejected. Chapter 18:15 Later, Shen Mingqi told him that Yi Wanwan didn't follow him because she was discovered by Si Yihan midway and she wanted him to rescue her again. However, he was engaged with Yi by then and Yi Wanwan had lost all value to him, so why would he take a risk again and offend Si Yihan just for her? Despite knowing this period of Yi Wanwan's dark history, Gu Yueze was still willing to forget the past and accept her, so she should be content. However, the current Yi Wanwan was indeed a lot smarter than the old Yi Wanwan. If she intentionally used this move to provoke him, then she succeeded. She had indeed evoked his interest and desire to conquer. Regardless of which man it was, they wouldn't be able to tolerate their woman declaring another man as her boyfriend to the outside world. He understood very well why Yi Wanwan did this. He originally didn't want to waste too much effort on Yi Wanwan, since this woman would come to him at a single hook of his finger. However, it now appeared he needed to take her more seriously. The Stars Corporation that stood behind her was worth his effort too. Due to Yi Wanwan suddenly announcing this sort of explosive news, none of them returned to their respective homes, and they all followed Yi Wanwan to Little Rose Garden in the end. Their objective was to get first-hand gossip, of course. Wanwan, is your boyfriend really Si Yihan? Yi Mufan anxiously asked while rubbing his hands. Yi Wanwan answered, yes, so what? Yi Mufan solemnly said, Wanwan, I think this brother-in-law candidate is rather nice. You must tightly clutch onto this chance and not miss it. Your temper is getting more and more violent nowadays, and it's fine if it's me, your brother, but you can't treat your boyfriend like that. You'll scare him off. You must treat your boyfriend more gently. If you don't know how, brother can teach you. That's enough. Yi Wanwan was exasperated. Didn't you previously say he was a pretty boy who swindled both money and sex? Nonsense. If there's someone swindling both money and sex, it's you. Yi Wanwan really had nothing to say. This was clearly the line she said to Yi Mufan back then, but Yi Mufan now used it to thwart her. Brother Yi, aren't you too awesome? How did you get your hands on the CEO of the C Corporation so inconspicuously? Gong Su bounced up and down next to her with admiration on his face. Yi Wanwan felt her head pounding from the noise. What do you mean inconspicuously? Didn't I introduce him to you guys a long time ago? But you didn't say he was Si Yihan back then. Gong Su wanted to sweat when he recalled how he almost tried to provoke the other man when they first met. What does Si Yihan look like? How handsome is he? Do you have photos? Big Dipper anxiously yammered. That I don't. But either way, he's really handsome, so handsome he can bend you the other way. Chapter 1816 President? What president? Gong Su twisted his head to look at Fu Mingxi like a curious child. Nothing. He drank too much. Big Dipper, 7-star, escort Mr. Fu back. Yi Wanwan signaled 7-star and Big Dipper. If Gong Su and the others learned she was the leader of bandits, her persona would collapse. And so, before Fu Mingxi's grievances had time to erupt, he was securely carted off by Big Dipper and 7-star. Let go. Release me. I want to see the president. I'm the president's official fiancé. Fu Mingxi shouted as he wildly struggled. Big Dipper rolled his eyes at Fu Mingxi. Enough already. Fu Mingxi angrily cried. What do you mean enough? The president said it herself. She praised me as good-looking after seeing my photo and agreed to an engagement to me with my grandfather. Big Dipper was rendered even more speechless. All right, you've said it 800 times already. Please, have you never seen the president drunk? How can you believe anything she says when she's drunk? She'd hit on anyone remotely good-looking when she's drunk. If she took responsibility for all of them, she'd have married 100 men by now. Seven Star looked at Big Dipper with a frown. He didn't think Big Dipper should smear the president's image like this. Even if it seemed like the truth. Fu Mingxi flung off Big Dipper's hand, dark emotions flickering through his eyes. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Doesn't Xi Yihan just have a little bit of lousy power in China? How dare he steal the president from me? I'm gonna wreck the Xi family and see how he'll steal the president from me. Big Dipper nodded. I agree. Go. This way, you can turn around and get kicked by the president. Fu Mingxi became teary-eyed. Within days, Yi Wanwan's interview rapidly spread like a virus and became the prime material of post-meal conversations. As everyone gossiped about Yi Wanwan and Xi Yihan, they undoubtedly paid close attention to Gu Yueza's reaction. Previously, Yi Wanwan being head over heels in love with Gu Yueza was the talk of the town, but then she turned around and said she had a boyfriend already and that boyfriend was Xi Yihan. Didn't Gu Yueza's earlier words seem to be rather wishful thinking then? However, a few days later, Gu Yueza posted a Weibo post that riled up a storm again. Before, it was me who didn't know to cherish you, so I only have myself to blame for your anger. This time, allow me to pamper you instead. At Yi Bai, Gu Yueza's Weibo post obviously hinted that Yi Wanwan intentionally said she already had a boyfriend because she was angry at him. To this, Gu Yueza graciously expressed his forgiveness and understanding. Realization dawned on everyone after seeing this post. So it was like that. After all, based on the glorious history of Yi Wanwan chasing after Gu Yueza back then, which was circulating through the internet, she did appear to love Gu Yueza to death. Even after Gu Yueza got engaged to Yi Wanwan's pursuit merely became more intense, and she even antagonized Emperor Sky Entertainment and Yi at every turn she could for Gu Yueza. It all made sense now. Yi Wanwan merely said what she did in front of the media to intentionally provoke Gu Yueza. Moreover, the rumors always said Xi Yihan kept his distance from women, so how did he obtain a girlfriend all of a sudden? The matter had occurred several days ago now, but there was only word from Yi Wanwan without any reaction from the Xi family, so who knew whether what she told the truth? This Weibo post from Gu Yueza instantly shifted the direction of public opinion. Yi Wanwan's public announcement of a relationship turned into what looked like a couple's bantering and her throwing a tantrum at Gu Yueza. As for Xi Yihan, a figure who solely belonged to legends, they didn't dare to imagine it at all. Chapter 1817 Boss hasn't spoken yet. Several days later, evidence of Huang Mingquan and Liang Meixian being the murderers was found and the duo was forced to confess and admit their guilt. Under the enormous pressure of public opinion, Yi Hongwei and the board immediately relieved Yi of her position, and Yi Mufan officially took over Emperor Sky Entertainment. After learning the truth, Yi Hongwei became seriously ill, and Tan Yilan accompanied him at the hospital and took care of him the whole time. As soon as they thought about how their youngest son actually died at the hands of their most favored daughter-in-law and most trusted steward and how their most beloved granddaughter wasn't related to the Yi family by blood, the duo was immersed in painful regret and washed their faces with tears all day long. When they recalled the eldest branch's good qualities, it was too late. Their past actions already caused them to become emotionally distant from the eldest branch, and they couldn't return to the past anymore. Regardless of how Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan treated Yi Wanwan and her family, they were their seniors, so Yi Wanwan and her family couldn't abandon them. Hence, after Yi Wanwan discussed it with her father and brother, they made proper arrangements for the two elders and merely didn't permit the two elders to interfere with the company's affairs. As for Liang Meixian and Huang Mingquan, they kept searching everywhere for connections to lessen their sentences. Unfortunately, the wheel of fortune had turned on them, and everyone couldn't be more eager to avoid them. This included Liang Jiahao and his family, who previously curried favor with Liang Meixian like she was his real sister. Now, they frantically hid from the duo like the duo was an epidemic. How could they have expected the princess they always buttered up to be a bastard? Instead, it was that uneducated wench Yi Wanwan, who became the owner of Stars Corporation, someone they couldn't hope to touch? The chairman of Stars Corporation was his niece. If he didn't listen to his wife and treated his sister, Liang Wanjun, so terribly, he wouldn't have to worry for the rest of his life, relying on this level of relationship alone. Now though, it would be useless even if he drowned in regret. At Stars Entertainment's reception parlor, Gu Group's vice president, Chiu Liquan, sat in his spot with a big grin. Director Zhou, have you finished reading it? Zhou Tao read the proposal that Chiu Liquan handed to him and carefully deliberated his following words before speaking. If I remember correctly, your company submitted this project proposal last month already, but regrettably, your company doesn't satisfy our needs. Chiu Liquan chuckled and said with a meaningful expression, we didn't suit your needs last month, but it doesn't mean we can't meet them this month. This chapter is scrapped from Riyadh Light Novel. Org Gu Yueza and Yi Wanwan's gossip dominated the news this month. With this layer of relationship present, their supposed desires weren't important anymore. Zhou Tao naturally caught Chiu Liquan's hint and hummed. The boss hasn't spoken yet, so I wouldn't dare to decide without approval. Chiu Liquan snorted. Heh, Director Zhou, you truly don't know how to be flexible. The couple is just having a minor argument, but you're holding up this project. When the couple makes up in the future, wouldn't you be making things difficult for yourself, stuck in the middle? Zhou Tao's eyes shifted. This Chiu guy wasn't wrong. However, what was tricky right now was that Big Boss's affairs, especially her private affairs, couldn't be questioned by a person on his level. He didn't dare to lightly make a decision without getting a good sense of the Big Boss's wishes. Zhou Tao mulled it over before deciding to neither accept nor decline. He would drag it out first and observe the situation. Hence, Zhou Tao chuckled and said, I'm just an employee, so I'm only doing things according to the rules. How about this, Vice President Chiu, leave the information here, and I'll help you ask again. Chiu Liquan looked confident, traces of triumph leaking through. Thanks for the trouble. After saying that, the man left haughtily. Chapter 1818. Cold derision flickered through Zhou Tao's face as he watched Chiu Liquan leaving. Who did he think he was? Chiu Liquan was just a petty vice president of a lousy company and he dared to imperiously threaten him? If Zhou Tao didn't take Big Boss's face into consideration, he wouldn't have met with this man after he came running here without making an appointment. The Big Boss hadn't even admitted her relationship with Gu Yueza yet and he dared to posture himself as the husband? Zhou Tao seriously hoped Big Boss didn't take a liking to someone like Gu Yueza as the rumors claimed. That day, at Stars Corporation's headquarters, Yi Wanwan had a meeting with the higher-ups. Yi Wanwan originally didn't want to interfere with Stars since it was Second Elder's asset, but Second Elder kept calling her several times a day, insisting her to go to the headquarters. She didn't have to do anything and just had to show her face, as though Second Elder would gain a lot of pride simply from her visit. Yi Wanwan had no choice but to go to Star's headquarters and hold a meeting. Everything at the meeting proceeded as normal, but the branch directors wore strange expressions on their faces and looked at her like they wanted to say something. Speak your minds frankly, Yi Wanwan said. Ahem. In the end, Director Zhou, the one who received her initially, considered his words for a moment before asking, Boss, the Gu Group has been frequently contacting us with an intent to collaborate with us. What are your thoughts on this, boss? The gossip had truly evolved to all sorts of versions recently, so they didn't know who to believe anymore. Didn't I publicly talk about this a few days ago? Do I need to make another announcement? Yi Wanwan answered. The directors below all looked at each other blankly. Was their boss's boyfriend really that person from the C family? Although Yi Wanwan gave her answer, the people seated still weren't certain since romantic matters weren't clear-cut. The boss might be their boss, but she was also a woman. Who knew whether she really wasn't acting rashly out of spite as Gu Yueza said? Hence, they should sit back and observe a little longer. They would first hold the Gu family at bay first or else they would end up in a ditch after offending Gu Yueza if he really turned around and became their boss's husband. Yi Wanwan didn't pay attention to their thoughts and was absent-mindedly pondering over something unknown. When the meeting finally ended, Yi Wanwan made a trip to the Age of Immortals. The second she arrived at the company, Gong Su hastily slammed into her, saying he possessed new information related to Gu Yueza. What news? Yi Wanwan asked. Gong Su quickly replied, Brother Yi, I heard Gu Yueza has been secretly contacting some wedding companies these past few days. I also heard he met with the owner of Victory Hotel. Also, I heard he recently ordered a super expensive diamond ring from CL recently. Yi Wanwan clapped Gong Su on the shoulder and solemnly said, Baby Su, you can switch careers and become a member of the paparazzi. Really, it's a waste of your talents for you to be an artist. Gong Su became joyous upon hearing that. Of course. I'm talented all around. You seriously got a bargain signing me on, Brother Yi. Wait, no, don't go off topic, Brother Yi. Compliment me later. I'm talking official business with you. I'm telling you, that's not all. That fool, Gu Yueza, also secretly contacted all the well-known reporters in the industry and invited them to go to Victory Grand Hotel tomorrow night at 8. Yi Wanwan was exasperated. Just what are you trying to say? Gong Su revealed emotionally. Isn't all of this obvious enough, my brother Yi? Every sign indicates that Gu Yueza has been plotting for a long time and wants to publicly propose to you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Chapter 1819. As Gong Su torrentially unloaded his hypothesis onto Yi Wanwan, Lin Ke was saying nearly the same thing at a certain manor in Imperial City. Lin Ke said, Ninth brother, based on everything I said, Gu Yueza, that idiot, is probably preparing to propose to ninth sister. How can you tolerate this? If he could tolerate even this, wouldn't it be a bit illogical? Sihin, Yi Wanwan frowned. Propose to me? What the heck? Just as Gong Su finished telling her the gossip, Yi Wanwan's phone started ringing, and the caller was coincidentally Gu Yueza. Brother Yi, answer it, answer it. Gong Su urged anxiously, his face almost plastered to her phone screen. Yi Wanwan pressed the answer button and carelessly held it up. Hello. Gu Yueza seemed to be pleased by Yi Wanwan picking up the phone. With a gentle but also self-assured tone, he said, Wanwan, meet me at Victory Grand Hotel tomorrow night at 8. I have something important to tell you. Gong Su immediately mouthed, See. I was right. Before Yi Wanwan could respond, Gu Yueza interrupted her and continued, Don't reject me, Wanwan. Believe me, I know what you want and I can afford it. Then Gu Yueza hung up, brimming with confidence. Yi Wanwan mockingly glanced at her phone. Heh, you know what I want? Gu Yueza probably thought she wanted him to marry her openly? This would be correct if she was the previous Yi Wanwan. If Gu Yueza was willing to bestow her with such a grand proposal, she would have probably fainted from happiness. Hence, Gu Yueza matter-of-factly thought he had an accurately grasp of Yi Wanwan's mind, so he employed this ultimate finishing move on her. Brother Yi, are you going? Gong Su asked with a blink. Yi Wanwan looked at him cheerfully. Do you think I'm that free? Randomly taking him out for a walk was fine, but she didn't have time to keep playing with him. Don't, Brother Yi. You're not free, but I'm free. Let's go and have some fun. How satisfying would it be to publicly reject that idiotic jerk and slap his face? Gong Su enthusiastically suggested. Yi Wanwan glimpsed at him dryly. It's satisfying to slap the face of someone like him? She wasn't interested in doing something so easy. Fine, it'd be kinda boring. Gong Su pursed his lips in disappointment. Stop thinking about having fun all day long. Let's get down to business. She still had other important things to do during her trip in China, so she didn't have time to waste on these petty matters. Soon, she would have to return to the independent state, so she had no time to lose and had to swiftly take care of her business here. Yi Wanwan ignored Gong Su and entered Fei Yang's office. Brother Yang, have you finished preparing for the press conference? Many things had happened recently, the switching up of Emperor Sky Entertainment's management, the redistribution of the Age of Immortals, and Stars Entertainment's upcoming plans and collaborations. They needed to hold a press conference to officially announce it. Fei Yang looked up from his computer. It's all done. I've reserved the Gold Hall at Yunfan Conference Center, and I'm currently drawing up the guest list. Great. Thank you for your hard work. After drawing up the guest list, Fei Yang immediately invited all the major media outlets and reporters to their press conference. Meanwhile, Yi Wanwan sought out Yi Mufan to discuss the general outline of the press conference. Chapter 1820. At the Gu Group, Qiu Liquan, the vice president, cheerfully said, "What a clever move, Xiao Gu. At that time, you'll create a giant surprise and stage a magnificent proposal that will stir the whole city. There won't be a single woman who can resist it." Gu Yueza leaned back on the sofa and sipped on his glass of red wine with a smirk. "I know Yi Wanwan too well. In the end, she's just a woman. The reason she's playing hard to get and is mad at me is merely because she wants an official status." "Brilliant, Xiao Gu. There's no way that girl will escape from your clutches, Su Gu." Qiu Liquan fawningly piled praise on Gu Yueza. "Oh right, I went to Stars Entertainment to meet with their director Zhou. That director Zhou has always acted haughty but had to treat me politely this time." Gu Group chuckled. "When I marry Yi Wanwan, the whole Stars Corporation will belong to the Gu Group, let alone Stars Entertainment. How could he dare to treat you with anything but politeness?" Qiu Liquan burst into laughter. "You're right, Su Gu." At that moment, knocks were heard on the office door, and a junior assistant entered. "Xiao Gu." The junior assistant looked hesitant to speak. "What is it?" Gu Yueza asked. "It's Miss Yi. She wants to see you," the junior assistant reported. Gu Yueza's eyes brightened before promptly dimming. "Miss Yi? Yi? Yes. She's been waiting outside for a long time and won't leave no matter what I say," the assistant answered, troubled. "Then have her keep waiting," Gu Yueza indifferently said and resumed his conversation with Qiu Liquan. The junior assistant had no choice but to exit. She quickly returned to the reception area of the Gu Group and coldly said to Yi, "Please leave, Miss Yi. Co Yi really isn't available." Yi immediately slapped her. "Bitch, you're just an assistant. How dare you speak to me like this? It was me who arranged for your position at Gu Group back then. How dare you block me?" The junior assistant's face became swollen at once. Grievance overwhelmed her, and she indignantly yelled, "Who do you think you are, Yi? Do you still think you're the future young madam of the Gu Group? You're just hogwash that CEO Gu doesn't want anymore. Where did you get the guts to act mighty in front of me?" What did you say? How dare you?" Yi flung another slap at her. The junior assistant didn't cower and rolled into a scuffle with her. "What? Am I wrong? You're in the wrong here. Our CEO Gu is going to propose to the owner of Stars Corporation, Miss Yi Wanwan, tomorrow. Who do you think you are? Bitch. You're lying to me." Yi was startled, disbelief filling her face. "I'm lying? Go read the news yourself. The entire Imperial City knows about this." The quarrel finally ended when security arrived to pull the duo apart and toss Yi out of the building. In front of the Gu Group's building, Yi's expression was immensely dark. Her hair was messy as a rat's nest, and tears from the tussle littered her clothes. "Gu Yueza is going to propose to that little bitch, Yi Wanwan? Impossible. How could that be possible?" This piece of news completely shattered her last bit of hope. "Gu Yueza? Yi Wanwan? You want to kick me away and get together?" "No, absolutely no way. I absolutely won't allow you to be together." The next morning, Yi Wanwan's press conference at the Gold Hall of Yunfan Conference Center officially began. The management of Emperor Sky Entertainment, the Age of Immortals, and Stars Entertainment all attended. Chapter 1821. Since everything was arranged ahead of time and an incredibly eager second elder had sent people to make proper preparations, Yi Wanwan merely had to sit there and hold down the fort. The press conference went extremely smoothly. Yi Wanwan rubbed her neck, which was aching from sitting too long. Seeing that the business with the company was almost done, she was prepared to toss responsibility to Yi Mufan shortly and swiftly finish her mission from the academy so that she could accumulate enough honor points as soon as possible. "Brother Yi, do your shoulders hurt? I'll help you massage them. I'm really good at massages." Fu Mingxi was steps away from her, as he'd been the past few days. "No need. After the press conference ended, Yi Wanwan walked at the front with a parade of senior managers from the three companies along with reporters who hastily followed them, wanting to ask some questions, and they ceremoniously left the hall. The servers pushed open the two golden doors of the hall. Yi Wanwan had her head lowered as she conversed with Fu Mingxi while walking forward. The second the doors opened, though, an abrupt loud bang rang and a rain of flower petals showered down from above, followed by numerous colorful balloons floating up. Yi Wanwan looked up with a frown. The originally solemn Yunfan Conference Center had turned into a sea of flowers. Expensive imported red roses formed a carpet that stretched from the gold hall to the center of the building. Standing at the center stage was Gu Yueze, dressed in a wine-red, expensive, high-class, custom-made suit while holding a bouquet of flowers as he looked at her lovingly. Upon seeing this scene, Yi Wanwan's mind blanked. Everyone behind her who saw this unexpected scene was also dumbstruck. What was going on? They all quickly reacted. Damn, Mr. Gu is planning to propose? Explosive. This is too explosive. Isn't this surprise too heart-jolting? After a wave of shocked exclamations, everyone noticed the heart-shaped crystal platform at the center was actually layered with crystals from S Company. This platform alone probably cost millions of dollars. If someone stepped on it, they had to tread cautiously in fear of breaking it. Not to even mention the myriad of romantic decorations that stretched across the venue. An enormous sum of money was spent on everything. The reporters who came to attend a business press conference all became excited. They never would have expected to accidentally gain such a big scoop from the press conference. Gu Yueze was about to publicly propose to Yi Wanwan. Wow! This is too romantic. How could it not be romantic? It's built on towers of money. Which woman could reject this kind of proposal? I seriously envy Yi Wanwan too much. It appears Yi Wanwan will get what she wanted. Amidst the reporters' sea of envious gasps and exclamations, everyone waited for the female lead's reaction. Fu Mingxi fumed at this scene before him and immediately hurled insults. What a cheap proposal! Is he nouveau riche? President, if you like surprises or a romantic proposal, I can give you one 100 times grander. Don't be deceived by such a tacky proposal. Big Dipper pushed him to the side. So, does our president look like someone this ignorant? Yi Wanwan, she was more ignorant than this in the past. She would dry up a mere flower that Gu Yueze gifted to her and turn it into a bookmark and securely store it in her safe. Chapter 1822 haven't become muddled to the point of being blind. 7-star remained calm and silent from start to end. Yi Mufan, however, was burning with hatred. How dare this damn toad lust after a swan? Who gave him the courage to propose to my sister? Wanwan, don't be foolhardy and impulsively agree to him. Yi Wanwan's expression darkened. How foolhardy would I have to be? Yi Mufan grumbled. Don't be so blasé, Wanwan. It's really easy for women to become dizzy and muddled in this kind of situation. I haven't become muddled to the point of being blind. No matter how Yi Mufan knew his sister had her own opinion and absolutely wouldn't accept Gu Yueze's proposal, he still couldn't help but worry. He couldn't be blamed for overthinking things, as Wanwan's boyfriend hadn't appeared since she returned to the country, nor had Si Yihan made an appearance and responded, so he couldn't help but feel worried about his sister's romantic situation. He didn't dare to believe his brother-in-law was truly Si Yihan either. Of course, taking in mind his sister's temper, he didn't dare to voice his question. The reporters all held their breaths in anticipation, and wave after wave of kachak and camera flashes enveloped the venue. All the reporters fervently snapped photos of Yi Wanwan's face, wanting to capture pleasant surprise, touched emotion, and even the female lead breaking down into tears. After waiting for so long and finally obtaining what she wanted, she had to be very excited, right? In truth, Yi Wanwan was rather irritated. She didn't expect Gu Yueze to block her all the way in Gold Hall to give her a so-called surprise, giving her no path of escape. She felt like a pile of shit was forcefully stuffed into her mouth. Gu Yueze looked at the girl on the other end of the red carpet. Yi Wanwan was wearing a black, clean and handsome form-fitting suit today. Although it looked very good on her, He thought she should have at least worn a more festively colored dress for an occasion like today. Thankfully, it didn't matter since the girl possessed skin whiter than snow and stunning looks, so her outfit highlighted another unique type of beauty. Under everyone's eyes, Yi Wanwan stepped onto the red carpet of roses and prepared to leave without a wandering glance. However, to Gu Yueze, Yi Wanwan's calm expression merely looked like she was dumbfounded with joy. Gu Yueze stared at the girl with deep adoration and gently said, "Wanwan, I know you've waited for this moment for a long time. I'm sorry for going in circles and making you wait for me for so long. Time has made me realize that the person who loves me the most and feels the deepest affection toward me has always been by my side." On the crystal stage, Gu Yueze accepted a black velvet box from a staff member and opened the lid, revealing a ring crowned with a diamond the size of a pigeon egg. "Wanwan, marry me." "Marry me." These words echoed in the convention center's lobby, eliciting a string of ear-shattering cheers. "Marry him. Marry him. My God. I'm so envious." Yi Wanwan's seriously blessed. In the midst of everyone's cajoling, a woman's acidic curse was heard. "Yi Wanwan, you're a mistress." All the reporters bewilderedly turned to the source of the voice and saw that the newcomer was actually Gu Yueze's ex-fiancé and the previous director of the talent recruitment department at Emperor Sky Entertainment. Wow. This is gonna be good. Yi actually came. We're gonna see two women fighting over a man. Chapter 1823. A burst of desperate madness was evident in Yi's eyes as she staked everything in one throw and crazily pounced on Yi Wanwan. However, before she could get within 3 steps of Yi Wanwan, she was stopped by 7 Star. Before anyone realized, a cold youth appeared in front of Yi Wanwan. 7 Star didn't even make contact with Yi, but the woman staggered onto the floor and started sobbing, tears streaking down her face and shoulders trembling. Why did you do this to me? I know my parents made a mistake, but what does it have to do with me? I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I have nothing now. I don't have Yueze, so why do you have to steal Yueze away too? Hey, what nonsense are you spouting? When did Brother Yi steal your man? Big Dipper irritably snapped. However, Big Dipper's menacing and brutish manner merely complimented Yi and made her look more pitiful and fragile. She scrambled backwards in a panic and her jacket and collar seemed to accidentally slip down, revealing bruises spotting her skin. "Wanwan, although you did have an engagement with Yueze at first, I didn't get together with Yueze until you broke up with him. There wasn't anything improper about how Yueze and I got together, so I didn't do anything wrong by you. Now though, Yueze and I were about to get married, but you're using your power to bully me and insert yourself between us. Afterward, you even hired thugs to frighten me and force me to break off my engagement with Yueze. Wanwan, even if I'm not related by blood to the Yi family, we've been sisters for so many years. How could you treat me like this?" Yi was choking with sobs at this point. "I've already lost everything, so why must you steal away the last thing I have too?" As the reporters listened to Yi's words and saw her miserable and tragic state, a commotion ran through them, and they couldn't help but feel sympathetic. Damn, I didn't expect Yi Wanwan to be so vicious. Yi's already in this state, but Yi Wanwan still isn't sparing Yi. In order to get married to Gu Yueze, she actually hired thugs to force Yi to break off the engagement. No matter what Yi did, she did have an engagement with Gu Yueze. So Yi Wanwan is the mistress for butting into their relationship at this moment. TSKSK, this woman methodically plotted to send Yi's parents to prison, then forced her to break her engagement and stole her man. This woman is seriously terrifying. Listening to the surrounding discussion, Yi's cries became more heartbreaking. "Wanwan, I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I don't want anything, please just return Yueze to me." A cold glint flickered through Yi's eyes as she said that. "Hey Yi Wanwan, you won't let me live well, so I will make your life hell too. This way, even if you do win Gu Yueze, you'll be scorned by everyone and will forever be labeled as the mistress and suffer from the world's insults." Yi Wanwan crossed her arms in front of her chest and coldly watched Yi taking on the role of both the director and actress for this scene and acted like she was the world's most innocent and pitiful flower. Gu Yueza might be angry at Yi for disrupting his proposal, but two women fighting over his affections did satisfy his vanity and pride. Especially when he heard Yi sing Yi Wanwan hired thugs to force her to break off the engagement. Heh, woman. They really say one thing but mean another. Gu Yueza sighed and said, pretentiously acting like a gentleman, Yi, don't talk about Wanwan like this. No matter what she did, I'll apologize on her behalf. If you want to blame someone, blame me. Chapter 1824. It would be better if Gu Yueza didn't say that. By saying that, his words equated to admitting to everything Yi said. Yi seemed to have suffered an enormous blow at witnessing Gu Yueza speaking up for Yi Wanwan. She stood up shakily, as though she'd faint at any second. Wanwan, you've doggedly pursued Yueza ever since I got with him and didn't give up. I tolerated everything you did, seeing as we were sisters, and I really didn't want to do this, but I didn't expect you to act so tyrannically. You pretended to be the victim, you purposefully played hard to get, you hired thugs to injure me and force me, and you even used Si Yihan to provoke Yueza, but aren't you merely doing everything to win over Yueza and obtain the status of Mrs. Gu? Are you satisfied now? Yi tearfully accused Yi Wanwan of shamelessness, causing the reporters' gazes toward Yi Wanwan to turn odder and odder. Although Yi deserves to be punished, Yi Wanwan isn't anything good either. Right? She's seriously too manipulative and even intentionally made herself look good and claimed Si Yihan was her boyfriend, but in the end, it was just a plot to force Gu Yueza to marry her. The most poisonous heart truly belongs to a woman. As Big Dipper helplessly watched Yi acting pitiful and caused everyone to insult Yi Wanwan, his fury erupted. Damn, aren't you Chinese women too shameless? Just openly fight it out whenever you have any grievances. What kind of solution is this? Yi Wanwan ignored Big Dipper. This industry was like this. He was merely seeing the tip of the iceberg. Miss Yi Wanwan, may I ask if Yi told the truth? Did you really privately hire thugs to threaten her? Doesn't your conscience feel uneasy by using such unscrupulous methods to get the position of Mrs. Gu? Can you really accept this grand proposal today with an easy conscience? Interrogation from reporters instantly slammed Yi Wanwan. Everyone, please calm down. All of this is just a one-sided statement from Yi, and everyone knows our chairman Yi already clarified her relationship with Mr. Gu Yueza earlier. Zhou Tao hastily stepped forward to resolve this soap opera, but unfortunately, the public typically sympathized with the weak, so none of the reporters believed Zhou Tao and they all sided with Yi. In the midst of this chaos, a reporter suddenly shouted, "What did you say? Si Yihan? Si Yihan? What about Si Yihan?" Si Yihan's name was like a drop of oil in a pot of boiling water and instantly attracted everyone's attention. I heard the president of the C Corporation, Si Yihan, returned from overseas today and is coming here to inspect this place. Huh? Seriously? Yunfan Conference Center, the most luxurious convention center in Imperial City, was under the management of C Corporation, so it wasn't strange for Si Yihan to show up there. However, wasn't Si Yihan's itinerary always kept tightly confidential with the surroundings under lockdown, prohibiting the appearance of a single reporter? It's not true, right? If Si Yihan was coming, this place would have probably been cleared and locked down already. I heard it was because of Gu Yueza's sudden show, so by the time the center's manager informed them, Si Yihan had arrived already. If you don't believe me, go take a look for yourself. All the senior managers of C Corporation and this convention center's boss are at the entrance to receive him. Wow. This trip today was simply too worth it. All the reporters bubbled with excitement. Chapter 1825. Wait. If Si Yihan is here, wouldn't that be comical? Wasn't Yi Wanwan pretending that Si Yihan was her boyfriend a few days ago? Won't she get her face publicly slapped now? PFT. Oh yeah. The matters turned into such a big fuss, so Si Yihan must have heard a boot. Yi Wanwan's seriously brazen to dare to pretend to be Si Yihan's girlfriend. Si Yihan. Yi Wanwan unwittingly narrowed her eyes upon hearing that name. The reporters all rushed toward the lobby's entrance only to be met by a group of bodyguards in black flooding toward them and barricading the reporters at a distance. After that, a group of C Corporation's senior managers smartly dressed in suits and leather shoes followed along with the sweating and panting president of the conference center. This procession caused the boisterous reporters to all reflexively quiet down, not daring to utter a sound, and everyone propped up their cameras, aiming them toward the main entrance. About 10 seconds later, all the senior managers were standing at the main entrance properly, ready to receive a guest, and a black car slowly stopped. The car's back door opened, revealing a strong but long and slender leg. Then a man dressed in a black suit fully stepped out of the car. SSS. A wave of gasps simultaneously reverberated through the center when everyone clearly saw the man. The man's aura was seriously too powerful. The second he appeared, the enormous center turned oppressive. When the reporters cautiously examined the man's looks, they were stunned once more. They never would have expected Si Yihan to actually be so handsome. My God! Si Yihan's too handsome, right? I'm announcing that I have a new husband from this moment onward. Who was it that foolishly claimed Si Yihan didn't dare to show himself because he was too ugly? It's obviously because he's too handsome and would evoke havoc by revealing himself. But I actually saw Si Yihan with my own eyes. I don't have any regrets in my career as a reporter anymore. Yi Wanwan's gaze navigated through the tightly packed crowd and landed on the man in the middle. Aside from returning his hair to black, the man shared nearly zero differences from Lord Azura. However, she felt like she hadn't seen him for several centuries. The man who gave her the best time of her life but also the crudest treatment. Gu Yueza's red rose carpet was layered from the gold hall all the way to the center's main entrance, so it would be unavoidable for Si Yihan to step on it if he wanted to enter. The sight of this slim figure walking across a bed of fresh red rose petals with icy looks that appeared to be carved by the gods themselves, it was unworldly. When the man was halfway across the carpet, the reporters finally snapped out of this beautiful feast. A bold reporter dashed out from the crowd and snatched this once-in-a-lifetime chance for an interview. Hello, Mr. C. May I ask if you've seen Miss Yi Wanwan's interview a few days ago when she claimed you were her boyfriend? What are your thoughts on this? Such an explosive question from the very start. The other reporters all sighed and wrung their hands at seeing this reporter outdoing them but also pointed their cameras towards Si Yihan, waiting for his answer. The man halted his steps. Every reporter held their breaths subconsciously. At a lack of response from Si Yihan, the inquiring reporter looked a bit frightened and stammered. Yi Wanwan is the founder of the Age of Immortals and the B-boss of Stars Corporation. Have you heard of her? Chapter 1826. The reporter was probably afraid that Si Yihan didn't know this person, so she tacked on an explanation. After all, rumors said Si Yihan had been overseas during this period of time. In such a romantic setting, the reporter could visibly detect an extremely displeased frostiness from Si Yihan. So, she thought she had disturbed and irritated the man and didn't hope for Si Yihan to respond, so she started retreating and wanting to flee. To the reporter's surprise, she heard the man coldly answer, "I've heard." He's heard. However, it wasn't that strange since Stars Corporation not only had the most famous Stars Entertainment under its banner but was also involved in many other industries. Could it be because they had some business interactions? The reporter was incredibly pleasantly surprised Si Yihan answered her. She naturally didn't want to give this chance up and bolstered her courage to continue with her questions. Then President Si, may I presumptuously ask if you know Chairman Yi? What relationship do you two have? Do you have business interactions? The reporter was obviously trying to trick words out of Si Yihan. As long as Si Yihan said he didn't know her or wasn't familiar with her, things would get interesting. Silence descended around them again. Many people turned to Yi Wanwan, waiting for a good show. Yi Wanwan was seriously unlucky. Who would have expected Si Yihan, who appeared once in a blue moon, to coincidentally visit this place? Now her lie would be exposed. Yi smirked in elation. Yi Wanwan had finally miscalculated. Did she think her lie wouldn't be exposed simply because Si Yihin never made public appearances? Let's see how she'd continue in this industry from now on. Si Yihin didn't answer the reporter's question and seemed to be pondering over something, his mind drifting away. However, no one uttered a sound and everyone held their breaths in anticipation. About 10 seconds later, the man returned to the present and suddenly walked past the reporter. Everyone trailed after him. Si Yihin headed straight toward Yi Wanwan. Damn. What's going on? Is Si Yihin about to make Yi Wanwan pay? Yi Wanwan's eyes were placid as a pool of dead water, and she ignored everyone's zealous gazes and calmly watched the man slowly walking toward her. Finally, the man stopped before her. They were both dressed in black and created an inexplicable sense of harmony as they stood in front of each other, face to face. What's his relationship with her? In front of everyone, the man in black slowly leaned down and planted a light kiss on the girl's lips. The man's slightly raspy voice, which was as low as a cello, rang out next to everyone's ears. My girlfriend. Girlfriend. Every reporter's face turned blank as they watched the scene in front of them, clueless as to the right expression to have. Time seemed to have frozen and everyone stood unmoving without a sound. It wasn't until the man pulled back from the kiss that a commotion shot through the place, a fervent uproar nearly piercing through the roof. Damn. What did I just hear? Was I hearing things? No. You didn't. I also heard it. Si Yihin said Yi Wanwan is his girlfriend. My God. Si Yihin is actually Yi Wanwan's boyfriend. This is a shocking scoop. Of course he knows her. How could he not? She's his girlfriend. The person who asked this question must have been an idiot. Everyone thought Yi Wanwan was simply trying to aggravate Gu Yueze and didn't expect her boyfriend to really be Si Yihin. Doesn't that mean everything that Gu Yueze did, posting on Weibo, inviting reporters, proposing to Yi Wanwan, it was all delusional, wishful thinking? Yi is more hilarious, right? She was just claiming Yi Wanwan hired thugs to threaten her and force her to break her engagement with Gu Yueze. Her acting was seriously realistic. Chapter 1827. The schadenfreude expression on Yi's face instantly distorted into an extremely awful expression, the color draining from her face. That's impossible. Yi Wanwan and Si Yihin? How could that little bitch, Yi Wanwan, become associated with the patriarch of the Si family? Yi looked at the perfectly matching, handsome and beautiful couple standing together on the dazzling crystal platform at the other end of the rose carpet, simply beautiful like characters who stepped out of a painting. The disbelief and jealousy in her eyes nearly caused her heart to explode. Next to them, Gu Yueze's level of shock obviously wasn't any less than Yi's. He had always thought that Yi Wanwan should be groveling with gratitude that he was still willing to marry her despite her history as Si Yihin's lover. Never would Gu Yueze have expected Si Yihin to publicly say that Yi Wanwan was his girlfriend. No way would Si Yihin go this far for a lover unless he really considered Yi Wanwan as a proper girlfriend. Yi Wanwan had been telling the truth from start to end. She really didn't care about him at all anymore. Gu Yueze's face turned ashen. He felt like the bouquet of flowers in his arms was a pile of hot potatoes and the romantic decorations around them were a burning sea that made him unbearably embarrassed. Not to mention the mocking gazes and snickers that surrounded him. This confident and meticulously planned proposal turned into a complete joke. So handsome. Fu Mingxi was dazed and despair directly overcame him after seeing Si Yihin's looks for himself. It was only after witnessing it for himself that he understood that Gong Su's description wasn't an exaggeration. It was actually too humble. This man could seriously use his face to murder someone. No wonder the president was head over heels captivated by him. No, I don't agree. I don't agree to this marriage. Fu Mingxi made one last dying struggle. Yi Mufan shoved him to the side with his shoulders. Who are you to disagree? My sister and brother-in-law are a match made in heaven, so who cares if you disagree? As my sister's most respected and loved brother, I will make the decision to agree to this marriage. Yi Mufan then excitedly mused, my sister is simply too awesome. His brother-in-law was actually Si Yihan. Si Yihan was his brother-in-law. While everyone was amazed by Si Yihan publicizing his relationship with Yi Wanwan, there was someone more astonished by the audience. Strictly speaking, they were horrified. Big Dipper intently stared at the face of the man in front of his president, his eyes nearly falling out from shock. Shit! Lord Azura. Isn't this Lord Azura? Seven Star was just as shocked but quickly regained his wits. They just look alike. They aren't the same person. Big Dipper pointed at the man's face. Their looks are clearly identical. Only their hair color is different. I previously heard Sis Feng mentioning that the person she likes looks very similar to Lord Azura. This man is probably him. Big Dipper gulped. I thought Sis Feng was randomly making it up, but this person actually exists? Damn. Seeing Si Yihan wearing Lord Azura's face and saying Sis Feng is his girlfriend. It's simply too horrifying. Horrifying. I'm too stunned. The people around them had exploded into an uproar, but as the protagonist of this matter, Yi Wanwan seemed to be absorbed in her own world and had her eyes solely focused on the man in front of her. Chapter 1828. The girl lowered her gaze and chuckled gently all of a sudden. The corners of her beautiful eyes turned up slightly with mockery and nonchalance as she said, "Appearing so soon? Earlier than I expected." All the noise receded from the man's ears, only leaving behind her moving lips and her voice. Yi Wanwan smiled and languidly continued, "I thought you would wait to show up until after my wedding or my child's 1-month-old birthday or perhaps after I give birth to my second child." Si Yihan, the man's cool eyes evidently narrowed, frostiness leaking out. "Of course I'd appear. Because your wedding, your child's 1-month-old birthday, and your second child could only be with me." Although the man said only half of what he meant, as usual, Yi Wanwan tacitly understood the words he left unsaid and aloofly said, "Mr. C, it'd be best to refrain from being so overconfident. When I left to search for you these past few months, I visited some places and had some fun. I suddenly discovered that the previous me truly observed the sky from the bottom of a well and thought the sky above me was all the scenery the world possessed. Now though, I've realized that there's so much beautiful scenery in the outside world." The man felt both love and hatred as he watched her cheerful expression. He lowered his voice and leaned close to her with a faint smile. "Is that so? Lots of beautiful scenery outside?" The second the man approached, his cosmos-like eyes invaded all of her senses, causing her to nearly break. She inwardly cursed before hastily retreating a step to dodge his honeypot trap. Zhou Tao approached them at this moment and cautiously said, "Ahem, President C, there are more and more reporters and fans gathered here, so should you and Xiao Yi move somewhere else to publicly display your affection?" Yi Wanwan glanced at Zhou Tao and cleared her throat. "Understood." Yi Wanwan and Si Yihan were escorted by several bodyguards out of the crowd, leaving behind the Ashen Guyueza and his romantic proposal scene, as well as Yi surrounded by reporters. Although the senior managers from Si Yihan's company were thirsting for gossip, they knew this wasn't a good time to be a third wheel, so they all left successively, and only Seven Star and Big Dipper followed Yi Wanwan to protect her. An hour later, at a secluded manor in Imperial City, Yi Wanwan had never visited this place. It was probably another property that belonged to Si Yihan. Behind them, Big Dipper secretly whispered to Seven Star, "Hey, old Seven, say, Si Yihan and Lord Azura look identical, so who does Sis Feng actually like?" Big Dipper, "Sis Feng was with Si Yihan while she was in China? I think I realized something. Sis Feng knew Si Yihan first, so Lord Azura is this man's substitute?" Big Dipper, Wait. I realized something else. Sis Feng actually dated a normal person from China? Wouldn't her hunt be too broad in scope? So Sis Feng disappeared for so long and secretly ran off to China because she got bored of the independent state and came for some novelty in China? Big Dipper, wait. I realized something else. So did Sis Feng come to China this time for business on the surface but private matters in reality? She came to rekindle her old flame? Shut up, Yi Wanwan snapped. Okay, Yi Wanwan ordered Big Dipper and Seven Star to wait outside. Chapter 1829. Finally, only Yi Wanwan and Si Yihan were left in the living room. Yi Wanwan sat down on the sofa. The man took off his jacket and hung it on the coat rack. He straightened his cuffs before walking toward the girl. "What do you want to drink?" Yi Wanwan studied his calm face and clicked her tongue in wonder, propping her chin on her hand. "It's been so long since we've seen each other. Shouldn't this be a dance of heaven's lightning and earth's lava? Oh, if you want, I can accommodate." Yi Wanwan's expression darkened, and she lost interest in keeping up this pretense and placed down her hand, leaning back on the sofa. She frankly asked, "Why did you replace my memory?" Si Yihan's face imperceptibly started. It appeared she really did find out. "You know," Si Yihan said. Yi Wanwan looked at the man's unchanged expression, and fury involuntarily rose in her eyes. He didn't show any panic or guilt, like nothing was wrong with what he did. She looked for him and investigated the matter for so long in search of the truth and reason, but all she got from waiting so long was this nonchalant attitude. "Why? Give me an explanation," Yi Wanwan shouted. A flame ignited in her lucid eyes as she asked, "Si Yihan, just what have you been treating me as all this time?" She thought she finally saw through him and understood him in this lifetime. She thought everything in the past was her own misunderstanding, and she finally saw the genuine him. She didn't expect to have never understood this person at all. "My most beloved person," Si Yihan replied. Yi Wanwan was first taken back before laughter pealed out of her. "Si Yihan, don't you find it ridiculous to still say something like this even now? If you loved someone, would you erase her existence? Would you transform her into a different person and turn her into your captive slave?" Faced with her fury, the man was akin to a pool of dead water and continued, "Yi Wanwan is indeed my most beloved person." Yi Wanwan knitted her brows and wanted to say something when a thought occurred to her. The one you love is you, not me, am I right?" If that was the case, everything would make sense. The person that Si Yihan liked and loved dearly was Yi Wanwan, but Yi Wanwan died in that accident. So he had to find someone who looked similar to Yi Wanwan and transform her into Yi Wanwan. At that thought, Yi Wanwan felt bone-chillingly horrified. "Heh, so I've merely been a substitute all along?" This explanation would indeed be flawless. A substitute? An indescribable emotion surfaced in Si Yihan's eyes as he looked at her. "Your thoughts are very interesting." Yi Wanwan frowned. "Just what do you want to say?" Yi Wanwan originally thought that the person Si Yihan loved was Yi Wanwan from the Yi family who died long ago. Hence, because she looked similar to Yi Wanwan, he intentionally erased her memory and turned her into a substitute, but Si Yihan's answer indicated something else. 50. Why did Si Yihan erase her memory then? Let me tell you a story. 51. Yihan sat down on the sofa and calmly said, "In truth, the Si family in China is merely a tiny branch that was abandoned. The true main branch of the Si family is located in a place named the Independent State. 1. Also an expression of a spark of desire between a man and woman." Chapter 1830, The Independent State. Yi Wanwan stared at Si Yihan, not knowing what he meant. There's a rule in the main branch of the Si clan in the Independent State that has been passed down since ancient times. All of the Si family's newborn children are banished to different countries to undergo hardening and growth. And I'm one of those banished members, Si Yihan explained. Yi Wanwan knew about this already but didn't understand why Si Yihan was telling her this now. Moreover, since Si Yihan said this, it directly proved that Si Yihan was deeply connected to the Independent State. And who was brought back to the main branch after I became of age. I have some fame in the Independent State. There's one rule in the Independent State. They prohibit the residents of the Independent State from marrying outsiders, regardless of who it is. However, I violated this rule. Because of this, I had to erase all of your memories and have you become Yi Wanwan. This was the only way to prevent the Si family of the Independent State from discovering your whereabouts. Hence, you could only become Yi Wanwan, Si Yihan softly said to her. Yi Wanwan was startled. Si Yihan was saying they already got married while he was in China before her memory was erased. As a result, she and Si Yihan suffered from the pursuit of the ancient Si clan from the independent state. It was also because of this that Si Yihan erased her memory and disguised her as Yi Wanwan. This way, they could deceive the Si clan of the independent state and ensure her safety. Back in the independent state, Lord Azura mentioned to her that the ancient Si clan had a new emerging star named Si Yihan who had very similar looks to Lord Azura. So did Lord Azura tell the truth? Was Si Yihan really that new star from the ancient Si clan? The ancient Si clan holds immense power, so I had no choice but to erase your memory. This way, the Si family wouldn't be able to find you, and I left without saying goodbye because I didn't want to bring harm to you, Si Yihan replied. Then why did you appear now? Aren't you afraid of the ancient Si clan? Yi Wanwan stared at him intently. Because I don't want to be attending your wedding the next time I see you. Si Yihan calmly met her eyes. Yi Wanwan choked and cleared her throat before meaningfully saying, ignoring that for now, I have a question for you. Do you know Lord Azura of the independent state? I don't know him, but I've heard of him, Si Yihan answered after a pause. Oh, Yi Wanwan was pensive. All right, then from now on, I'll go wherever you go. It's too dangerous to take you with me. Give me some time, Si Yihan said. I'll properly deal with my business with the ancient Si clan. Before Yi Wanwan could reply, Si Yihan took out a ring and put it on Yi Wanwan's finger. What is this? Yi Wanwan curiously asked, examining the ring. This ring originally belonged to you. As for what it symbolizes, I don't know, Si Yihan said. When Si Yihan met Yi Wanwan for the first time in Azura's branch, she was wearing this ring and appeared to treasure this ring a lot. After erasing Yi Wanwan's memory, Si Yihan kept this ring safe for her, but it was time to return it to her now. The independent state situation had become increasingly complicated and confusing, and his plan also might not succeed. Chapter 1831. If this ring remained with him and something went amiss, he might not have the chance to personally return it to her. Before Yi Wanwan could say anything else, Si Yihan answered a call and seemed a bit nervous. When Si Yihan hung up, he looked at her intently with his unfathomable eyes. Wait for me in China. I will come back very soon. Okay, I'll wait for you in China, Yi Wanwan said with great compliance. Then Si Yihan stood up and left, disappearing without a trace in a few breaths. The corners of Yi Wanwan's mouth turned up with an inexplicable smile as she watched Si Yihan leaving. It had to be said that Si Yihan's acting skills truly bulldozed the majority of the Best Actor winners. Even she almost got fooled by him. All of Si Yihan's excuses were perfect and flawless, and nobody could discover a hole in them. Yi Wanwan herself believed him, almost. However, Si Yihan did slip and lost to Yi Wanwan's incredibly careless question. It might have looked like Yi Wanwan was just offhandedly asking Si Yihan if he knew Lord Azura, but his answer was very interesting. I don't know him, but I've heard of him. Si Yihan neglected an extremely unremarkable detail. Where did Lord Azura come from? The independent state. But Si Yihan shouldn't have known she went to the independent state at all. When she said Lord Azura's name though, Si Yihan didn't react abnormally and answered without missing a beat. If Si Yihan supposedly didn't know she visited the independent state, why wasn't he surprised when she said Lord Azura's name? In other words, Si Yihan knew she was in the independent state prior to this, or else he wouldn't have reacted that way. Still, Yi Wanwan admired Si Yihan very much. Si Yihan's logic was meticulous and it was difficult to find flaws, but Si Yihan ended up letting something slip in some seemingly unimportant small talk. What was more unfortunate was that Si Yihan didn't know Yi Wanwan discovered that she was worryless Nye from the Nye family. Si Yihan said they were hunted by the ancient Si clan because he married an outsider. However, Yi Wanwan was worryless Nye to begin with, the daughter of the Nye family, one of the independent state's 4 great clans, not the outsider that Si Yihan claimed she was. She learned too many things during her time in the independent state, but Si Yihan didn't know this. In Si Yihan's mind, she was clueless, so he regrettably miscalculated. The second Si Yihan decided to use this excuse, he exposed himself. Yi Wanwan also knew that everything Si Yihan said just now was probably false too. The fact that she was his wife before her memory was erased and how the ancient Si clan hunted down her and Si Yihan, it was all bogus. If she really got married to Si Yihan, the independent state would have definitely had information about this. Also, she was Worryless Nya, a resident of the independent state, not the outsider that Si Yihan claimed she was. Hence, the ancient Si clan should have been joyous about a marriage between the Nya family and the ancient Si clan, so why would they hunt her and Si Yihan down? As for how Si Yihan urged her to wait for him in China before he left, that was the only real part. Yi Wanwan was certain that Si Yihan was Lord Azura. Lord Azura reclaimed his identity as Si Yihan and specifically came to China this time to make her believe that Si Yihan and Lord Azura weren't the same person, to urge her to remain in China and to not return to the independent state again. By now, Yi Wanwan was almost overwhelmed from her curiosity about what happened back then. Why did Si Yihan mask her memory and why did Si Yihan want her to stay away from the independent state? Chapter 1832. Soon, Yi Wanwan also left and returned to Stars Entertainment's branch office. After greeting Zhou Tao and the others, Yi Wanwan sat in the office and inspected the ring that Si Yihan gave to her. Yi Wanwan played with the ring in her hand. Whether it was the material or the workmanship, it was very unusual, and there was an extremely inconspicuous stalk of weed engraved on the inside of the ring. Si Yihan said this ring belonged to her, which was probably the truth. There was no point for him to pull out a ring to deceive her. Aside from knowing she was the owner of this ring, he was clueless about its symbol, use, and everything else. Minutes later, Yi Wanwan put the ring on her finger. Perhaps it was just a normal ring that she wore before she lost her memory and there wasn't anything worth studying. Yi Wanwan didn't pay it too much heed. At the same time, at some location in Imperial City, a middle-aged man dialed a number. "I've discovered the whereabouts of the ring," the middle-aged man said into the phone. A cool voice came from the other end. "Is that so? I didn't expect that ring was in Lord Azura's possession all along. However, Lord Azura has returned the ring to her, and it appears both of them don't know the ring's use." The other speaker was silent for a long time before they said, "Bring the ring back." "Understood." The middle-aged man hung up after receiving the order. On the other hand, at the Si residence, Qin Ruoshi's expression was dark as she read the news that blazed through the internet. She originally thought Si Yihan was dead already, but to her surprise, he appeared in China again fine and well. Si Yihan went missing for so long, and the current Si family was now the domain of her, Qin Ruoshi, so why did Si Yihan have to return at this time? However, even if Si Yihan was back, he shouldn't delusionally think about regaining control over the Si family. However, if Si Yihan really wanted to return to the Si family and seize control over the Si family again, it wouldn't be an easy matter. "Bring that woman here." Qin Ruoshi turned to the captain of the hidden guards standing to the side and made the order a moment later. The young man nodded and turned to leave. At that moment, Si Yihan and Lin Ke were sitting in the private room of a coffee house with extremely high privacy and drinking the coffee that had just been served. "Say, ninth brother, will that ugly freak, ninth sister, believe you?" Lin Ke asked after taking a sip of coffee and looked at the expressionless Si Yihan. Si Yihan glanced at Lin Ke, his unfathomable eyes serene without a single ripple. "I don't know." "What?" Lin Ke nearly spat out the coffee he just drank. Si Yihan actually had no idea whether the story they took so much time fabricating was enough to scare Yi Wanwan. "It should be fine." Si Yihan sounded apathetic. Lin Ke thought about it for a moment before nodding. He said, "That's true. What you said was nearly perfect without any holes, ninth brother, so that ugly freak, ninth sister, must think you and Lord Azura are two different people. This way, ninth sister will definitely wait for you in China and won't head to the independent state again." An indescribable emotion surfaced in Si Yihan's eyes. If Yi Wanwan was in the independent state, he would be able to see her any time. Chapter 1833. However, the independent state was truly too dangerous. Moreover, she was born and raised in the independent state, so despite her memory being masked, if she stayed in the independent state for a long time, the people and things she came in contact with would inevitably cause her to remember. He absolutely wouldn't allow her to remember the past. That torturous memory and past were truly too cruel for her. However, ninth brother, by making a public appearance as Si Yihan, you must have alerted the Si family, right? Lin Kei turned to look at Si Yihan after a long while. Yes, Si Yihan replied. So I'm thinking, will those higher-ups of the Si family think you came back to grapple for control over the Si family again after seeing your return? They might not dare to attack you, but I think they might abduct ninth sister and use her to threaten you, Lin Kei said after a moment of thought. This possibility was too great. He would do it if it was him. After all, Si Yihan continued to say Yi Wanwan was his most beloved woman, so it would be the smartest option to use Si Yihan's most beloved woman to threaten and even control him. Before I left people behind to monitor the Si family, Si Yihan responded aloofly. Si Yihan might not bear many attachments toward the Si family, but grandmother was there still. However, he didn't want to act against the Si family, so he left some elite members of Azura standing guard near the Si residence to guarantee grandmother's safety before he left. If those higher-ups of the Si family intended to do anything nefarious toward grandmother, they would be annihilated. Alright, you're prudent and thoughtful, ninth brother. This way, it'd be pretty impossible even if they wanted to harm ninth sister. However, speaking of which, ninth sister is the president of the Fearless Alliance now. If those fools from the Si family dared to harm ninth sister in any way, the people under her would wipe out the entire Si family before those elites from Azura need to act. I hope those fools won't do anything idiotic. At the same time, Yi Wanwan and Big Dipper, 7 Star, First Elder, and Third Elder left Star's Entertainment and prepared to drive back to Golden Seas. Sis Feng, Fu Mingxi, that punk, was screaming about wanting to hang himself and commit suicide to sacrifice himself for love, but I managed to stop him. What should we do about him? Big Dipper said to Yi Wanwan in the car. Hang himself and commit suicide? Oh right, Fu Mingxi also threatened that he'd exterminate the Si family, and would kill whoever tried to steal you from him. He's beyond any cure. Big Dipper sighed. Second Elder's grandson was truly an expert. Not only did he have a glass heart, but he was also a shameless thing. Even Big Dipper was scared of him. It appears Fu Mingxi inherited his grandpa's fine tradition of shamelessness. First Elder ridiculed from the shotgun seat. All the elders of the Fearless Alliance had this kind of relationship. Anyone would want to hit a person who was down whenever the chance arose, and Yi Wanwan had long since gotten used to this. Before Yi Wanwan could say anything, the driver, Third Elder, suddenly slammed on the brakes. Big Dipper, who was sitting on the rightmost seat, lost his balance and nearly flew out of the car, but thankfully, the car door was sturdy enough. What kind of driving is this? Which driving school did you graduate from? You and your motherfucking driving, I'm gonna stomp the gas and kill you. Third Elder rolled down the window and angrily shouted at the small truck that blocked their path ahead. Chapter 1834. Big Dipper steadied himself and gave Third Elder a thumbs up. I can tell you're an experienced driver, Third Elder. A dozen or so men exited from the small truck in front of them and marched toward them, surrounding their car. Damn, what do they want? Are all the drivers so violent here and want to start fighting without a word? Big Dipper looked at the dozen people in front of them, bewildered. In this place, drivers bring fighters with them? Aren't the drivers here too vicious? 7 Star glanced at Big Dipper. They're obviously here to look for trouble. Look for trouble? Big Dipper jolted fiercely, and his expression shifted. It's always been us who looked for trouble. I've never run into someone who came to seek trouble. If I don't beat them to shit today, my name isn't Big Dipper. Big Dipper went to open the door and go out but was stopped by Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan saw 2 familiar faces amongst that group of men. If she was right, these people were most likely the Si family's hidden guards. Bang! A second later, the car doors were opened by the Men in Black's leader, a middle-aged man. Come out, the man ordered aloofly as he glanced at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan's lips turned up with a bone-chilling smirk. How interesting. When she first returned to China from the independent state, she planned to uproot the entire Si family, but since Si Yihan came back, she thought Si Yihan could take care of it himself, so she didn't do anything. Now though, Si Yihan probably fled back to the independent state and hadn't gotten involved with the Si family. She didn't provoke the higher-ups from the Si family, but they delivered themselves to her doorstep. Where did you freaking come from? Do you know who I am? Big Dipper's temper erupted instantly. I'll say it again, all of you get out. Impatience surfaced in the leader's eyes. Before Big Dipper could respond, Yi Wanwan walked out. Big Dipper and 7 Star hastily followed her out. Get in. The men quickly stuffed Yi Wanwan and her group into the truck. Big Dipper was dumbfounded by Yi Wanwan's complete lack of resistance. What was she doing? Since Sis Feng didn't attack, should he attack? Why shouldn't he attack though? But if he attacked without Sis Feng's orders, this was freaking the biggest dilemma of the century. And so, in the midst of his inner turmoil, the conflicted Big Dipper was stuffed into the back of the truck as well. Inside the pitch-black trunk, they could feel the truck moving rapidly. Sis Feng, why didn't we fight them? Big Dipper was bewildered. He was the tyrant of the independent state, Big Dipper, so how could he get abducted and stuffed inside the trunk of a truck by a group of trash? If word of this freaking got back to the independent state, how could he live from now on? What would happen to his reputation in the independent state? Sis Feng must have had her reasons for not attacking, 7 Star replied. What reason could there be? This is too humiliating. After this humiliating event, it'll be very hard for me to face my mom, who's accepting treatment at the hospital after her car accident. 7 Star. Yi Wanwan, First Elder, Third Elder, no need to act rashly. These people were targeting me, so just act according to my plan, Yi Wanwan instructed. She'd like to see what kind of game the Si family higher-ups were playing. Chapter 1835. An unknown amount of time passed before the truck finally stopped shaking and slowed to a stop. Soon, the trunk was opened and they were taken out. After exiting the truck, Yi Wanwan inspected her surroundings. The truck had directly entered the Si residence. Yi Wanwan was very familiar with the Si residence by now, and she recognized this area to be the Si residence's discipline area used for imprisonment and interrogation. Damn, where are we? Big Dipper examined his surroundings. Quiet. Several hidden guards went up and pushed Yi Wanwan and her group into the interrogation room. After throwing them into the interrogation room, the hidden guards exited and locked the door securely. In the interrogation room, First Elder and Third Elder stared at each other while Big Dipper turned to Yi Wanwan and asked, Sis Feng, just what's going on? How dare these people treat us like criminals? Yi Wanwan smiled faintly but didn't answer. Before she went to the independent state, she learned about the existence of Mr. Eric from Si Mingli and the others, but she had no idea who this Eric was and what his objective was for helping Si Mingli and the others make a comeback. Now though, why didn't she turn their own trick against them and see if she could lure that Eric into her trap? No need to panic. Just watch me for instructions, Yi Wanwan aloofly replied at last. The mere Si family naturally wasn't enough to imprison them, but Yi Wanwan didn't put up any resistance because she wanted to infiltrate the Si residence and meet the Mr. Eric that Si Mingli mentioned. A long while later, the interrogation room door was opened and a middle-aged man marched inside and sat across from them. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm the new captain of the Si family's hidden guards. The middle-aged man greeted them while examining Yi Wanwan. Then I don't need to introduce myself, right? You should know who I am. Yi Wanwan met the man's eyes. Heh, the man snorted. Of course you don't. Yi Wanwan, Miss Wu, once the mistress of the Si family. Since you know who I am, where did you get the nerve to abduct me? Yi Wanwan asked. Miss Yi, I'm merely working for the Si family. I hope you can cooperate with me and won't make it hard on everyone. I'd like to ask, where is Si Yihan? The man asked with a smirk. Yi Wanwan was pensive. It was similar to her guess. These higher-ups of the Si family abducted her because of Si Yihan. Si Yihan is your Si family's patriarch, So why are you asking me instead? Yi Wanwan nonchalantly asked. The Xi family's patriarch? The man snorted in contempt. That was true a lifetime ago. Miss Yi, I'm advising you to cooperate obediently and make Xi Yihan show himself. Otherwise, your fate will be rather tragic. What? The Xi family is low on manpower nowadays? Why did they make a minor captain of the hidden guard like you interrogate me? Yi Wanwan retorted apathetically. The man's expression shifted. Did you think our hands are tied just because you won't tell? You'll obediently open your mouth eventually. Then he snorted and clapped his hands. A second later, a young man was dragged inside by several hidden guards. Master? The young man was shocked when he saw Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows. The man carted inside was 11, whom she hadn't seen in a while. Chapter 1836. Yi Wanwan was startled when she saw 11. She originally thought 11 had left the Xi family a long time ago but didn't expect him to have stayed behind. Master, why are you here? 11 looked stunned and incredulous. Now isn't the time for your reunion. The captain of the hidden guard snorted as he watched Yi Wanwan and 11. Yi Wanwan turned to the captain. Why did he bring 11 here? Miss Yi, we're aware that you personally taught 11 yourself, so he was your disciple basically. The relationship between a master and a disciple shouldn't be too weak, right? So if Miss Yi can cooperate with us and tell us where Xi Yihan is and lure him out, I can guarantee the safety of you and your cohort, including 11. How about it? The captain proposed with a chuckle. However, Yi Wanwan remained expressionless. A moment later, she stared at the captain and aloofly asked, and if I'm unwilling to cooperate? What then? Unwilling? A cold glint flashed through the captain's eyes, and he immediately grasped 11 by his neck. If you're unwilling, then I'll kill your disciple first. Do you want to see 11 die in front of you, Miss Yi? Interesting. This time, it was Yi Wanwan's eyes that glinted frostily. No one has ever dared to threaten me like this. Master? Disregard me? 11's face swelled red as he looked at Yi Wanwan. Before 11 could say anything else, Yi Wanwan gave 7-Star a look. 7-Star shot up, and before anyone could see his movements, the captain of the hidden guard flew into the air with a howl in pain and harshly crashed into the wall. 11 looked surprised, an inscrutable emotion surfacing in his eyes. Soon, the interrogation room door slammed open. The enormous commotion in the room led dozens of Xi family hidden guards there. Captain! Seeing their captain curled into a ball with an expression of agony, several hidden guards darted forward and helped their captain up. Seize them! The captain furiously shouted when he regained his wits a long while later. Yi Wanwan and her group didn't put up any resistance and allowed the hidden guards to throw them into the cell. In the dim and damp cell, 11 guiltily looked at Yi Wanwan. Master? It's all my fault. Yi Wanwan smiled faintly. It's not your fault. If they were willing, they could leave the Xi residence's prison any time they wanted. Master, didn't you say you left China? Why did you come back? 11 asked her. Yi Wanwan shook her head. This matter was too complicated to explain. Oh right. Did you find Patriarch? 11 voiced another question. I don't have any accurate news, Yi Wanwan replied. No way. Master, they said there's a great possibility the Patriarch died outside after going missing, but I absolutely don't believe it. How could the Patriarch have died? That's impossible. 11 exclaimed with a frown. Suddenly, a weak and emotional voice rang out from a corner of the prison. Is it you, Miss Wanwan? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.